G'day YouTube, Richard from Drop Bear Moto. Grab your Simpson helmet, put on your Dixon flannel, slip on those Vans. We're going Dyna! Something new and exciting for Drop Bear Moto. Whoa, what's happening? Let's talk you all through how I've become a Dyna bro. Not really, but want to talk a little bit about this motorcycle in particular. It's a 2007 Dyna Superglide. FXDC, Superglide Custom, I should say. Just picked it up, gonna tell you why. Gonna talk a little bit about the motorcycle, talk a bit about what I know about Dynas, which isn't a great deal, and then where do we go from here? So let's check it out. This all started when my daughter texted me from school and said, "Dad, do you want to buy a bike?" And I was like, nah. Maybe. What is it? It's a Dyna. Nah. Maybe. What is it? It's a Superglide. Black. Nah. Oh, maybe. Anyway, here we are, sitting right behind me. Interesting kind of decision. Wasn't looking for one, but it's a super clean bike and it was a really fair price. So he gave me a lot of original parts with it, so many things I can put back if I want to. Even had the original book and the first record from its very first service. So there's a lot of history there with the bike, as I say, super clean. Also, after the fact, he gave me this flag when he saw a picture of my garage, because I've got the Indian flag. So big thank you for that as well. But it is an interesting motorcycle. Dynas are iconic, maybe the ultimate light cruiser. Superglide, a lot of history. So there's two things coming together there. So let me tell you a little bit about what I know. I didn't know a lot about Dynas. I know they're sorely missed by a lot of people. I also was told, don't get a later Dyna, get an earlier Dyna. I didn't know a lot more than that. So I started to research Dynas a little bit more. And this is an interesting motorcycle. What I did know is that back in the late 60s, Harley Davidson was a really stuffy kind of organization. Harder to think of that now. But motorcycle riding clubs were gentlemen in shirts that were all matched, peaked caps maybe, and very sort of formal, I guess, big FL cruisers. They did have the Sportster since the late 50s, but they weren't really the motorcycle company we know today. There was a big chopper scene, though, sprung up in the late 60s. A lot of people customizing the bikes, doing amazing things with them. And one of the big things was actually merging the back of the touring motorcycle at the time, the FL, with the front end of the Sportster, which was really nimble. So you got this big, good-sized cruiser with a nimble front end. It got away with a big headdress, the big wheel, all that heavy sort of stuff that was on there. A legend, we all know his name, Willie G. In '71, he came out with the first Superglide. Superglide really did what the custom choppers were doing. Put that front end on the back end. He called it FX, some say because FL mated with the XH Sportster, two parts coming together. Officially, it stood for Factory Experimental, but the first motorcycle he did was a Superglide. He put those two pieces together. He painted it in a really cool Americana, Captain America style, white with red and blue. And he put a boat tail rear end on it, which was pretty controversial at the time, but I think everyone would love to have a boat tail Superglide now. That then moved forward and became eventually the FXR as that progressed through that product line. FXRs are legendary. By then we have the Evolution motor. We've got a really light, nimble performing motorcycle. But for Harley, it's getting expensive to produce, so they're looking at different options. And roll on 91, out comes the Dyna. Dyna was groundbreaking at the time. It was designed, the chassis, with CAD, computer aided design. Imagine a time when you had to actually call out that you were using a computer to do something here. Had a new swing arm, had 2 motor mounts instead of 3 at the time, 2 rubber motor mounts. The FXR fans hated it. The good news was they could choose from both for a while, but the FXR crew hated it. You know, the FXR was lighter, it was more nimble, the handling was tighter. The Dynas, you know, were floaty, and they had the Dyna death wobble shake at the time. So not well loved at all. Hated that the FXR was going, but the new platform was here and here to stay. And again, our man Willie G, front and center with the Dyna platform in '91. The Sturgis broke cover, blackout or black motorcycle, first Dyna available, sketched out as legend would have it on the back of a lunch brown bag on the way back from Sturgis, based on, again, what he saw people doing with their motorcycles. So 4 years later, and there is a point here that I'm getting to, in 1995, 2 things happened. First of all, the FXR is gone, no more, can't buy one new anymore. A lot of people still upset by that. Second big thing that happened was the Superglide came back. This time it came back as a base model Dyna, really. FXD was the acronym for, again, factory experimental Dyna. But it really was the entry-level Dyna at the time that you could purchase. There were 2 options, the base Superglide, or you could get a Superglide Custom, which was the FXDC. Custom pretty much came with a 2-up seat, a lot more chrome through the engine, on the heads, nicer looking machine, arguably, and spoked wheels were the big differences between the 2. The next big thing to happen was in 1999. That's when a brand new motor came on the scene. The Evo motor, you could pretty much trace its roots all the way back to the knucklehead. This was a brand new motor, and again, on the scene, our man Willie G sat down, again, rumour has it, at a Greek restaurant where a lot of the Harley Davidson design crew used to hang out. They actually invited the marketing or sales guy as well, I believe, to try and get him to pay for the lunch. Used to meet at a Greek restaurant. I think it even badly, stereotypically, was called Zorba's, something like that. But the team came up with a design spec for a new engine. 5 things they had to do, and I'm gonna have to read this one, unfortunately. Number 1, 45-degree V-twin. Number 2, those cylinders had to be inline, not offset. Number 3, it had to be air-cooled. Shouldn't have looked that one up. Number 4, it had to have push rods, not overhead cams. And the 5th item, it had to look like an Evo from 25 feet away. So that was a spec, and lo and behold, the twin cam motor came in. Came out as an 88 cubic inch originally, and has me wondering, does that mean I'm gonna have to pay double if I wanna do a cam on this one? The next big step before this 2007 model was 2006. Now, 2006 was an odd year. The bike got bigger, so Dyna platform changed forever. The frame got bigger, the rear wheel got bigger. It went from a 16 to a 17-inch rear wheel. The back tyre got bigger, the width went from 150 to 160. The gearbox got bigger and ended up with a 6-speed gearbox. The front end got heavier. We went from 39mm front fork tubes to 49mm front fork tubes, and the width between the fork tubes widened as well. So heavier front end, bigger frame, bigger rear wheel, everything got bigger on the motorcycle. And this is why a lot of people say buy an earlier. Again, we went from the FXR to a slightly bigger Dyna to a bigger Dyna again. Happens with everything, right? The original Mini was awesome. The original Porsche 911, light, twisty design, what they need to do. Over time, everything gets bigger and heavier. This one, though, is a much better cruiser. And that's why I originally said no, but then when I learned more about the Dyna, I was good with this one because that's mostly what I do. The other thing that happened in 2006 is the engine started to change, and this is why people say don't buy a 2006. It was kind of an experimental top end, I believe, somewhere between the 88 and the 96 cubic inch that this one became. They started to play around with the motor, so I don't know how reliable they are or anything. I just know it's hard to get parts for a 2006 because it was just that one year they had that motor. That odd motor did introduce fuel injection for the first time in the line. It's kind of interesting, actually, because I think the 6-speed definitely went to the Dyna first before the big touring bikes, and I think the fuel injection may have as well. Roll on 2007, and we're looking at the model behind us here. So that's why I tell that story. We've got the bigger, heavier version of the Dyna. Is supposed to be more stable and was designed to remove that Dyna death wobble though, which has got to be a good thing for me as a cruiser. I'm not knocking the stunt guys that like the lighter Dyna. I spend hours of my life on YouTube watching those guys tear it up, and that's what I love to see. Not going to be me anytime sooner, so that's why a touring model was probably a little bit better. But it's a super glide, it's got that history. Again, a base model that you can build on, had the bigger motor, the 6-speed, and obviously that more stable frame for cruising. So that's why I decided to buy it. To wind up my long rambling Dyna story, two things happened from there. 2014 Super Glide was cancelled, taken off the market, never to repeat so far. Very interesting, because a lot of the Dyna models did come across as softail models, including my favourite, the Lowrider S. Was an amazing Dyna, and look, if I had the money, that's the one I probably would have wanted. It had the 110 Screaming Eagle motor, the brass wheels, the same as the softail version, looked very similar. The forward-facing air cleaner, mid controls, great package. Love to get a chance to ride one of those one day. Then roll on 2017 and Dyna was no more, replaced totally by softail range. So interesting that as much as the Harley faithful hated the fact the Dyna was out and the FXR was no longer, the Harley faithful hated the fact the Dyna went and the softail became the de facto lightweight cruiser that we have today. So the end of an era, iconic legacy, iconic bike, iconic nameplate, and I'm proud to have finally got to own one. It's an enduring legacy, to be sure, not just the Dyna bro kind of culture, and I'd say that tongue-in-cheek. There's a ton of people doing amazing things on Dynas. The other legacy was the club-style bike, of course made famous eventually by Sons of Anarchy, where there was a huge range of everyone putting the T-bars on, blacking them out, or buying the blacked-out versions. The mirrors with the LEDs in them, trying to recreate that look. I'm not going for that with this one. Don't want to be a Sons of Anarchy fanboy. I did start to watch it just to get some inspiration again, and I must admit I got hooked in and had to watch all the seasons again. So it is a great show, but won't be styling my Dyna after a Sons of Anarchy motorcycle. Let's have a look at the bike. Let's go for a quick ride, and let's talk about where it goes from here. Finally, time to have a look at what exactly it was that I bought. I knew when I bought it that the back brake wasn't working right. Found out that was a faulty switch, so took it to Wade at Space Coast Performance Cycles. He did the 3-hole oil change, had a look over the motorcycle, fixed that up. On a test run, found out there was a little bit of leaky fuel, so he fixed up again something in the fuel rail there to correct that. So it's had a high 21,900 and something miles when I got it. It's done just over 22,000 now. So pretty low mileage example, really. And the big thing for me, it's a really, really clean motorcycle. It has the, as we mentioned, the 96 cubic inch twin cam engine. It has lots of chrome throughout. Obviously the pipes are different. We'll talk about those in a minute. But the rocker heads there, engine detailing, the strip on the battery box. It had the spoked wheels. It also had a 2-up seat. So it really was the entry-level bike at the time, with a little bit of factory custom that from there, people could really make it their own. So the person I bought it from, it was bought actually on the beach side. So we'll talk a lot about various things he's done to sort of protect it from the salt spray, and we'll see how effective that is in later videos. It is, he's done a few other things, put some brass detailing in there. But let's walk through. Actually, I should have mentioned that it is the blonde motor. To protect the spokes, and I think when I look in there, this might be an area where I've got a little bit of trouble on the spokes, is you can see some rust on there. So the black was put on as a cover, again, to protect it from that salt on that side of the beach. It came standard with the one disc brake on the front. Other protective measures, and there are blackouts all through, but obviously these gaiters, there's coverings here, all the cables have been protected. Got a black headlamp assembly with the visor on. It's got this tombstone sort of style screen, and if we come around this side, you can see that the brass detailings, we've got these little brass mirrors, grips. It's got the fuel cap. They're through the motorcycle actually, both the highway pegs, the pegs, the oil cap there is also bronze. So quite a few bronze sort of details that are patinaed in. Got the leather sort of covers on the brake levers, big old clunky iPhone holder on that side. I started to pull back some of the gaiters on here, and it looked pretty clean underneath, so I'm excited to sort of see what we've really got under there. Got a nice little cigarette holder on the tank here to keep your ciggies in place, which you never know, I might take up smoking one day, so I might leave that on there. It might be pretty handy. And I believe he replaced the original tank badges at some stage, so I'll have to look up and see what the original ones look like, but these are pretty cool. It's got the Vance & Hines short shots on. They look very good with this sort of cruiser style, I think, and the spokes and the white walls. It looks great, sounds very, very loud. The only piece I would say is that obviously you lack any sort of performance gains that you would get from a 2-into-1 or something with some sort of back pressure or crossover in there. I think this was before. I think the short shots now come with the PCX on all sort of EPA compliant Vance & Hines, but these I'm hoping would have been the originals that are just straight through. But my natural instinct there is to go a 2-into-1 and get some sort of back pressure out of the motor. Has got a different air cleaner on there, looks like a Harley one, so some sort of high flow. So maybe there's, you know, some sort of fuel pack or Screaming Eagle tuning with some sort of tune in there. We'll have to have a look at what's in there. As we go through, again, more gaiters on the back suspension here. We've got a Roland Sands two-tone seat, which is quite nice. These bags actually came from, I believe, a Crossbone Softail. Crossbone Springer Softail. They were adjusted to fit on this motorcycle. And then at the back, we've got a tinted rear light, and we've got the little bullet blacked out sort of lights on there as well. Various kind of other pieces of blackout. Let me get around the other side of the motorcycle here in terms of the horn cover and then the derby cover there. So a couple of things have been blacked out on the motorcycle. But it's really clean, as you can see. Two up, I'm not sure what, I guess it's just a Dyna sissy bar there with a pad. And then obviously you can see the white wall tyres, I should have mentioned at the start, but brand new tyres. You can even see they've got all the nice little rubber still on there, little rubber nipples that come on new tyres. So brand new Shinko white walls that are kind of blue, so they haven't been cleaned off properly, which we'll have to do. So what am I going to do with it? First thing actually will be to remove all of the cable tidies, the gaiters, the louvers off of the headlight there. I think strip it down as clean as I can. I'm going to take the bags off, obviously the sissy bars, easily removable on and off. Then I'm going to take all the brass pieces off. I did get all of the parts, or most of the parts, with it, so hopefully many of these parts I'll be able to quickly just swap back. So I'm just going to tidy and clean it up as much as I can. I'll take off the highway pegs, I won't be needing those, and obviously the tombstone windscreen on the front there will got to go, and that huge boat anchor cell phone holder. So that's all I'm going to do originally. This is where I'd love your help. I really don't know what to do from there. I hate the suspension, and I hate these, I don't know if they're pullback or buckhorn handlebars, the sort of position they put me in. I'll ride it around a little more with them on, just see if I get used to it, and also sort of see what really I don't like about the suspension. So maybe I'll keep it just as a cruiser. I think it'll be smart to sort of run these tyres in because they're there and they're brand new, and keep the spokes on for the time being. Maybe I keep the suspension at the height it is, just get slightly better suspension on there. I don't know. Is it stay a cruiser? Does it look a little bit more club style? I do like the chrome, and I do like the blonde motor. The little bits of black on there now, I could, shake it up and get black bars with chrome risers, or the other way around, and kind of keep that thing going. So I'm not sure. So I thought now might be a good time to go for a little bit of a spin, late afternoon. The sun's coming down. Give you a few first impressions and sort of talk through some of the initial experience of the Dyna. So switch her on, and we'll start her up so you can hear these Vance & Hines short shots.
we go. They are not quiet by anyone's standards. Yeah, I'm not sure they do a lot for performance. They're all looks and noise, these bad boys, but they do have the Harley rumble, that's for sure. And you can certainly hear, obviously, no crossover, I believe, in there, so we're getting the noise from each of the different cylinders. Let's jump on, have a look. So the first thing I think is you can see the vibration. Maybe it's absorbed a bit because I'm sitting on it now, but yeah, that's the Harley we know and love. You can also see the suspension, just how how loose it is. But we'll get underway. We'll go for a bit of a spin. So ergonomics wise, not too bad in the leg room. I could do with just being pushed a little bit further back with these mid controls, but 6'3", not too bad. The bars are just odd for me as I take corners, as the pegs. Yeah, it feels weird. Feels very weird, these pullbacks. So that's a big thing I'd like to kind of get on top of is getting a decent bar setup that gives me the control I think I need. And I get a sore wrist riding it for a while and sort of sitting like this and you know, a little bit in my back. So I think bars are definitely going to be the order of the day. You see smooth takeoff. Look, there's power there. It's not a slow bike. Well, in the V-twin world or cruiser world, it's not a slow bike at all. I think what's interesting is I wondered if this had yellowed because of the sun or whether it was that natural color, but you can see a nice little tan line there where the speedometer normally sits. That's quite amusing there on the little bit of a tan line on the speedometer. Yeah, definitely going to remove this tombstone fairer here because it's I'm looking straight down it. I don't know if that works for you, but if you can see that, but yeah, that's coming straight into my helmet and playing havoc with it, so that's quite funny. Let's do we'll spin around here. We'll go over a couple of the exit ramps and see what she's like on the turns. Definitely get those D-cell pops as you go around on the those Vance & Hines pipes. They are not subtle by any stretch. I mean, cornering's good. Like it sits down. It is floaty, and it's sort of. I'm not used to such a light front end, to be honest. So it's kind of interesting. I'll have to certainly get used to that. Just watch people coming in here because I'm going to go back on the causeway here. Yeah, so it's a very, very light front end, which is new for me. So very interesting. You know, very nimble wherever you want to go. So I'm more used to touring bikes, and this one you're going to have to be careful where you point it. But you know, it can take a corner. And that motor is really nice. Like, I just love winding that motor out. Gonna put it up into 6th gear here, even though it's a bit premature, but yeah, look, the magic number 6. When I first got on it, I was like, man, this thing's only got neutral and 6th gear, like none of the other gears work. But I was pretty impressed with that. Yeah, no, look, you know, it's no dynamite. We haven't tested the brakes really yet, but I do know the brakes are more of a suggestion than they are an instruction to slow down. But that's okay. You know, just got to be ready. It is a cruising bike, and when this thing's sitting on 60 as it is now, it's sweet. It's beautiful. It's a really nice ride. Stuck back down here again, and sort of doing a bit of a circuit here, but yeah, these brakes, they stop it, they calm it down. You just got to be ready that it's not going to stop you as quickly as I'm used to. You know, it's interesting too not having ABS, because it's interesting that your insurance gets cheaper with ABS, but anyone that's really ridden a bike knows that by washing off a little bit of speed with that first pull on the front brake and sort of really tucking the bike forward, you can probably brake quicker an experienced rider, and particularly anyone that's ridden on dirt, than you can. So it's interesting that they kind of assume none of us can ride and give you a discount for having ABS. But my son might ride this bike a little bit more, and I think it's a good thing to learn how to properly actually ride a bike rather than rely on all the driver controls we get now. I mean, they're great, there's a lot of safety there and traction control and ABS, but there's something to be said to actually knowing the machine you're in control of and being able to control it. So I kind of like that. Oh look, I've hit magic 6th again. Woohoo! So yeah, that's the as we literally, man, how poetic is this? As we literally head off into the sunset. I'm gonna turn off over here, get behind these cars, and literally head off into the sunset. That'll probably draw my first ride conclusions. But no, it's nice, it's smooth when it's up to speed. It's got that Harley vibration when you're at the stoplights, that's for sure. But I'm enjoying it. It's a bit of fun.
So that's my Dyna story so far. Where does it go from here? I'm not sure. If you've watched this far into the video, if I got anything wrong about Dynas or missed anything, please drop a comment. What do you think I should do too? Should I keep it as a cruiser? Should I keep it chromed with the spokes, with the white walls, just chill out and ride around town? Or should I lean into the urge to increase that suspension a little bit, go for a T-bar setup and get something I can hook into a little bit? I don't know. Not sure where this one's going to go. I'd really appreciate your comments. Also, give the video a like if you did enjoy it and hang this far in. And if you want to see what happens from here and you're not already subscribed to the channel, give us a subscribe. Those sort of things really do help out the channels. Anyway, that's where we're at for today, unfortunately. I'm going to start ripping into taking some of these things off. Might post another video on what we get to and where my thoughts are when I think them through. So don't expect anything too soon on this one, but there will be more Dyna content as we go. Appreciate you watching. Ride safe.